What's up, guys? It's Jacob, and we are here with my sister. We are going to get on a podcast today. I'm very excited.
Konnichiwa.
What were we talking about?
Family. I
Family.
was just saying I've been spending a lot of time with family this week, which has been so nice. That's the best part of coming home.
Well, for me too. I'm not even I was thinking about the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 5.5 in Japan.
Yeah, COVID really messed that up. And it was kind of good in some ways. I think we were lucky in the timing because you started to build a bit of a life out in Japan instead of the flying back and forth. And so did I in Calgary. I was back every month when I first moved to Calgary. In the first few years I moved to Calgary. And having to stay home and be there really made me start to put down some roots that I'd been pushing back against for a while. Because for me, home is Victoria because that's where my community is.
Right.
That's where my people are. And so I started to kind of build that a bit more in Calgary.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Now that I spent those 3 years there, it's not just these one or two friends. It's when I go back to Tokyo, it's Jacob, what are you doing for the first 2 weeks? And it's this friend and then that friend, basketball team guys. It's people even shooting videos with me, Instagram people. Yeah, it's way more it's a mix of stuff to do for work, friends, sports, and then a little bit of sightseeing. You came to Japan for 2 weeks.
Mom came.
That's huge for me. Those 3 years during COVID, fantastic, because there are no tourists. It's very quiet and easy to get around town. The trains were never crowded. But now going back to Japan and having you be able to come out, mom be able to come out, and then even basketball teammates from Victoria, I just see them one day. We've had cousins like Cassie come out. That's huge. Mm-hmm. That makes the 3-month trip over there completely different than 3 months when the border is shut down.
Yeah, there's something to be said about your, I don't know, your family or your people that are like family that make you feel like yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so that looks a lot different for, different people depending, we had a really, really big family with lots of cousins that grew up in Victoria. Mm-hmm. And we were really close with them. We saw them every Sunday. Sunday was cousin day.
Yes.
And it was for years until, high school hit and we were playing basketball, and then we were away a lot more. But we still, if we were home on a Sunday, we were at Vanoise, and so was everybody else. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think that sense of home and childhood, and when you've been away, you start to lose that, I don't know what you would call it, that sense of yourself.
Yeah, I don't think I lost it too much, but I think some stuff a little bit more sensitive. When I'm in Japan, people don't make fun of me. Japanese people are not so sarcastic. They don't really make fun of you unless they're really, really close with you.
Right. And you have to build those friendships there.
Exactly.
Because you didn't have those standing waiting for you when you arrived.
So everyone's so nice to me that this happened and I got into a fight with our cousin Peter.
And Peter.
No, well, actually, but in Japan first, with you too. It's a different story. But I think with him, he was telling me the main reason is you're too soft now. He's everyone's nice to you over here, and
you can't take a joke.
You can't take a joke, and I mean, some of it he was right. Some of it was a little bit too much, but it is true. I hadn't been around people who are that, family, for so long that it was you just forget how to interact.
Yeah. And I think too, it's hard to be away from home, and I think that's why we see a lot of people. We were talking earlier today about how a lot of our friends are starting to move back to Victoria to settle down and build their families. And I think that's because their family is here and they're wanting to be surrounded by their community when they're raising their kids or setting down roots. In a lot of cases. I mean, lots of people too have more adventure than I do, and
Yeah,
to
of
go
course.
off and be wherever. But
Yeah. But having the ease of, like, Calgary is not a tough place for me to go to. Like, I'm going to go visit you for probably a month this summer. It's only an hour flight from Victoria.
yeah, it's the same as taking the ferry, really.
You have direct flights from Tokyo, like you guys came over.
Yes, that was the best part, a direct flight to Tokyo. Oh,
Yeah. But it really is, yeah. Thinking about it, I love Japan so much, and I have so much fun traveling. Like, your trip when we were there, everyone keeps asking me, what was the best part about your sister being in Japan? Like, what was the most fun? I was thinking about it, and I was like, to be honest, it sounds stupid, but it was sitting in the hotel room playing Mario Kart.
Yeah.
With just like our people.
Yeah.
Right?
And that was a big part of it for us too. Everybody asked what was the best part, like, what was the best thing you saw in Japan? And we had a long list. Don't get me wrong. We had a fabulous time. And if I had to visit you somewhere, top of my list would be Japan for sure. But the top for that trip for me was the quality time we got. We haven't gotten that much time together in a really long time. And to just get to spend that time hanging out, and I don't want to say reconnecting, because it sounds like we weren't connected before, but just kind of getting to know each other as adults in your zone was really neat. And so I'm really excited for you to come see me in Calgary, because usually when we come home, we're coming home to mom and dad's place.
Yes.
Right? So, which is great, but it's also neat for me to be in your element in Japan and see you working and see what you do, as opposed to at mom's, where I'm like, oh, you know, your room's messy. But it was never messy when we were in Japan.
Right.
Right? Or where it's like, oh, you know, sometimes you're running late, but you never run late in Japan. And so there's some things that we do when we're at home with our families, because we're so comfortable. Right. You kind of revert back to like childhood self in some ways. And so that was really neat for me, because you kept saying, hey, I've grown up a lot. But we were in Victoria with the family, and I was like, I really don't see it.
Yeah.
And then we came out to see you, and I was like, wow, this is way more fun and actually way more enjoyable to interact with you as an adult.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you to do the same in Calgary this summer. And you said 1 month, but I think it's gonna be closer to 2.
Yeah, I'm going there like a month from now.
Yeah.
And then
till September. That's really
till
2.
September, but I'm not 100% sure if you want me to stay.
Oh my god.
Mom will feel bad. Although I'm coming back in the middle.
Yeah.
So I think mom's fine,
and she's coming in July.
But mom will be sad if I stay till September. I'm only here, then I'll be here for a month and then go to Tokyo.
Wow, tug of war for Jacob. Tough life.
I know, right? Aoi is waiting too.
Well, Aoi is welcome to come hang out with me anytime in Calgary.
Yeah, that's the good thing about a lot of my friends have jobs with like international companies. So he's one of them. He had a trip to LA. One of my basketball teammates, he works for like a athletic company, and they're trying to sign professional athletes. So he has trips out here too. So like it's kind of nice. Like as adults, yeah, we're not as stationary.
Yeah, well, and we can afford it.
Yeah, well, you can. I can afford it because I could stay with mom.
Yeah, free rent.
Thanks, mom.
And sister next month.
Yeah, sister next month too. I just had to pay with cooking. That's how I've been paying mom, is paying with my cooking.
Yeah, I can't cook. And you'd think that I might have learned to cook after my time in Calgary, where I lived off of salad rolls, ramen noodles, and cereal.
You're kind of like mom though, and like you kind of know what you like, right?
I think a lot of the time I'm eating for fuel as opposed to for enjoyment.
So I can't do that. Like I don't want to eat the same thing every day.
Yeah, I could eat the same thing
unless I'm working out. Like we're preparing for like a basketball tournament, or if like I'm trying to like gain weight.
It has to have purpose.
But other than that, like I want to eat something different every day.
But you do eat a lot of the same things. Like in your fridge, you would have 3 or 4 things that are staples.
Yeah, same things, but because I can cook,
they taste different depending on how you cook them.
I can cook an egg in like 12 different ways.
So is that, you've got eggs in your fridge all the time?
Eggs, kimchi, beer,
natto,
spinach, natto. Spinach is a big one, because spinach you can work into spinach omelet. It can go into a pasta. It can go in the blender for a smoothie. For you, you're like spinach. Like the other day, we were talking about spinach, and you're like, how do you like
we never go through it.
You don't eat it raw very often, right? Like it sounds like you cook
I
it.
just don't really eat it very often.
Yeah. So, anyways, but those are like because I can cook. Even with kimchi, you can eat it on its own. You could fry it. You could put it in fried rice. You can take just the juice, put it in soup or something. So there's more stuff you can do if you know how to cook.
I eat a lot of tomatoes. But that's just because I can slice them up. I don't cook them. I just slice them up and then put them on whatever I'm eating. Yeah. I don't know if that counts.
I don't eat raw tomatoes. I'll use cooked tomatoes a lot. Yeah, but
well, I'm hoping that when you come stay with us, you can cook for me.
Oh, for sure.
All the time.
For sure. I'm actually hoping to film part of my cooking. I'm going to do like an English cooking program.
Oh, and we have a good kitchen.
And I think the lighting and everything is better than Mom's kitchen. I was thinking about doing it here, but yours is just better.
And it's bigger.
Yeah. It's bigger, and
it's gas.
It's gas, and I'll be cooking for 3 in some of the videos, which is easier than
maybe 4 if Peter's coming over.
Well, we'll invite people over, right? And then the other thing that people have been requesting is crafting, which I suck. Oh. That's like, I'm pretty much good at everything, to be honest, but I'm not good with like small things. So are you. You're good at everything except cooking. We're just trading here. But Kayla is the best. Like, you're way too good at crafting. You're like a professional.
I like to craft.
So I'm thinking, like, one of my students was saying, like, apparently crafting in Japan and crafting she's learned from some Americans was like vastly different.
Oh.
Which I didn't think so, but I guess it makes sense. So I want to do like a card making.
Oh, that's what I make a lot of.
Card making
I volunteer,
class.
Actually, in Calgary, and every month I send out about 20, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 cards to seniors in Calgary who are kind of lonely and have joined this program, and they call it cheer mail. So every 2 weeks, you and I can come up with some designs, maybe.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's a good opportunity. You can show the crafting, and this program is mainly for children. The cooking is mostly for the moms.
So the crafting, if you can do it, then the children.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm really bad, so it'll be a good opportunity for you to teach me. And it's like, Jacob, no. And then we can compare mine, which will be not so good, and Kayla's, which will be perfect.
Or maybe because I'm such a great teacher, yours will also be
good. Maybe you're right. That's true.
Maybe.
But
we'll see.
The main reason I want to do cards is because I can also teach English. Like, what do we write in a card? Who do we say dear to? How do we end the message and stuff like that? I think that's a good way of getting kids to, write a Mother's Day card or something. Because Japanese people, sorry, I shouldn't say Japanese people. The Japanese friends I grew up with never do that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because
the girls more so.
Yeah,
the boys
I've received a lot of thank you notes, maybe not cards, but really beautiful thank you notes. And Japan has, hands down, the best stationery.
Oh yeah.
Of what? Yeah. Anywhere? Ever?
Oh, it's by far the best.
When we were in Japan,
oh my God.
Lou and I, we dropped you off to do your work, your filming and video editing, and then we went to Loft in Shibuya, and you probably took about 3 hours.
2 or 3.
2 or 3 hours, and we had made it almost to every floor there. Then we went back.
This was the funniest thing because when we were in Japan, we share our location. Mm-hmm. So I can see your location, you can see mine, right? And I actually thought it was like broken because I finished all my work. I finished everything. It'd been 2.5 hours. And I actually had to text you guys. I was like, are you guys still in Loft?
And we were.
Yeah. And you were like, oh, Lou's looking at the kitchen stuff.
The best part is that I've been to Japan a couple times before this trip, and I love Loft, but I could spend 3 hours in there. And not everybody wants to spend 3 hours in the stationery section.
No.
Don't ask me why not. And so I took Lou in, and I was like, listen, this is like one of the highlights of the trip for me. I stock up on all of my paper and my pens, and I have to try every pen out, which you can do.
Yes.
And it's a big deal, and this is the best one. This is the best loft. So I need you to not rush me. He goes, okay, fine. And Lou's very patient. So we go through the whole stationery floor, and I don't actually know that I've been to any of the other floors in loft before.
It's just the stationery?
Just the
Because they have everything, home stuff. And
yeah. So then we went up the floor, and the next floor I think is beauty.
Oh, yeah.
And gifts and stuff. And so we
Glasses.
looked there. And then we went up one more, and that's where we found the kitchen stuff. And the kitchen stuff for Lou is like the stationery for me. So we spent an hour in stationery, and I could have spent longer. And then we went up to kitchen, and Lou spent an hour in kitchen. And then that third hour we kind of spent going through the other floors and then making our way back down to kitchen and stationery. Then we did it another time later in the trip, once we'd bought our second big suitcase to take everything home, and we realized we could fit more.
Yeah. So
anyways,
loft. I mean, yeah, they do have the best stationery. Japan has the best stationery. And I made a mistake earlier when I said Japanese people don't write cards. It's usually not so personal like that.
Right.
Like they usually don't write it to a lot of thank you cards. So, but it's coming from the whole family, the whole group is giving the card rather than one individual to another individual. A little bit more uncommon. So I think it's a good chance.
Yeah. Well, we'll give it a go. I think that
should be good. I'm gonna buy one of those overhead cameras or tripods for the hands.
I was gonna buy one.
Oh, maybe I don't need to buy one then.
Yeah, it's nice having a big sister.
Yeah, I know. I do want to buy one though, because for the cooking too, I'll need it. You need to see my hands, and for the crafting, we'll have this view, and also of course, you need the overhead view.
Yeah.
But that would be cool for you. You could be like, who knows? You could be like Kayla La Crafts. You could be like the new Japan superstar.
I do have Kayla La Crafts.
I know. You could be bigger than me though.
It's not videos.
You want to plug your Instagram?
Follow me.
What is it? What is it actually?
It is Kayla La Crafts, I think. You can put it on there.
Okay.
Come on.
I'll
put all the. You can edit this video.
I will.
And flash it up
I'll put all the links and stuff. But
skills.
it's on Instagram, and she's doing that. But I feel like if you do it a little bit more professionally, like if you put like a video type thing for each scene,
yeah,
that will blow up.
Here's the problem, or not the problem, but here's what I've realized watching you do this, is it takes way longer to do that stuff than I thought.
Yes.
I thought, okay, fine, set up the camera and I'll just do my thing, and then when I'm done, it's done. There's the video, send it out. And it's not like that. You have to cut, you might have to speed it up so that it keeps people's interest. You sometimes have to add steps or captions and, you know, graphics and all these different things. And then you got to come up with the caption and make sure the lighting's good and all that jazz. Thumbnail. And I don't know if I have it in me, but maybe you'll get me set up for the first few rounds when we do it together.
Well, I can.
That can be what you leave me with.
Well, I understand the Japanese market, and like I said, there seems to be some interest for non-Japanese crafts. I have no idea what the difference is. Even if they explained it to me, I wouldn't know.
I might.
But you might.
We could do some scrapbooking.
We'll do it. Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's pretty much our podcast. So thank you everyone for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video or enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe, follow on Instagram. Of course, I'm English with Jacob. Like the video. And if you guys don't like the video, then Kayla won't come back. If you do like the video, she will be back. So let's try to get as many likes as possible, or we're going to have to move. No, I'm just joking.
Oh my gosh. I better get some love in the comments, especially since you're going to be living with me for a month or two. If you guys want Jacob to have a home next month, please like and subscribe.
Please. I don't want to be homeless. I pretty much am homeless already. Anyways.
Oh, please. You're not homeless. You're home many.
All
kinds of spots to live.
That's true. That's true. Anyways, thank you guys, and see you next time. Down. Did we get through the whole thing?